First, we're gonna make the yeast mixture. We're gonna take 3 tablespoons of yeast, add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Now, this is the part that used to make me a little bit nervous. See, if you add water to this yeast that's too hot, you're gonna kill the yeast. But if you add water that is too cold, it won't activate. Then your bread is gonna look like this. All you need is lukewarm water. Now, lukewarm water is about 110 degrees. I'm gonna give you a trick that you're gonna love me forever for. If you mix 3/4 cup of cold water with 3/4 cup of hot water, you'll get the right and perfect temperature. And we'll add that to our yeast. Get a bubble on us, okay? Give it about 5 minutes until we're ready to add it to our mixture. Now we're gonna start making our dough. We're gonna add 1.5 cups of sugar. And since sugar is sweetness, I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit more. Next comes the oil. And oil represents anointing. With this oil, I'm gonna anoint you, myself, my husband, everybody here to have only success. Next comes the salt. Now, salt represents criticism. We don't want much of that, right? So we're gonna measure a tablespoon of salt. We're gonna shake off a little bit of salt because we don't want that much criticism. We need, at this point, 2 cups of water. And remember, all your water should be lukewarm. And at this point, we'll add the flour. We're gonna use this whole thing. I'm gonna put about 7 cups of flour to begin with. Then we'll mix it. Perfect. Now at this point, we're gonna start adding the rest of our ingredients. Look at our bubbly yeast. Isn't that beautiful? That's exactly the result you want. We're gonna add the yeast. The yeast represents growth. Now we're gonna add a little bit more flour. Flour represents women. We take a raw resource and we make it into bread. Perfection. And turn it on one more time. At this point, we'll add the rest of the water, which is 1 cup. Water represents Torah, and Torah is really the manual for life. So water is a good thing to have. Now we'll add the rest of the flour. This is exactly what you want. See, it's not sticking to my hand. Elastic. That's gonna make it chewy challah. I'm gonna spray my hands with oil, so that way the dough will not stick to my hands at all. I'm gonna spray the bowl with oil, so the dough won't stick to the bowl. Let's take our dough out of the wash. See why I love this machine? Oh, you see that? The smell. I love you. So good. It's like a baby's tuchas. Okay. Here's another awesome trick. I only have one of these big balls. So when I make a lot of dough, or I don't have this handy, I actually put the dough in a clean plastic bag, spray the bag inside, put your dough in, squeeze the air out, and you will have the same result as putting it in a ball. Perfect. Look at this. Oh, excellent. Now we're gonna say a phrase that's gonna change this dough from ordinary dough to challah dough. There are 2 ways of saying this phrase. One is Ashkenazi and one is Sephardi. Of course, we always have to do everything different, right? If you want the Ashkenazi version of this blessing, you can get it on my blog, or you can get it in a prayer book. Remember, we're gonna take a portion the size of an egg. You ready? I'm ready. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehafrish challah teruma. Rip the piece of dough and you say Harif Zuv Challah, which means this is challah. We did it! Now we're gonna take this portion of dough and put it in aluminum foil. Traditionally, this gets burned, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't want you to get any pyromaniac ideas. I'm gonna put it aside. Next, we wanna spray a little oil on top of our dough. That way, when it grills, it doesn't stick to anything. I'm gonna take some plastic wrap and cover it. We're gonna let this dough sit for about an hour, and it's gonna double its size. Put it aside to grill. After that, I'm gonna tell you something extraordinary about challah that you will not want to miss.